There are men who do not say, "I love you," yet they show it in what they do. Men who do not dare to admit what they feel, but their actions give them away. Why does this happen? And why can someone be deeply in love without even knowing it? To understand this, we must look beyond what is obvious. And that is where Carl Jung comes in. Jung taught that most emotional choices do not come from clear thinking, but from the unconscious mind. This hidden part of us holds our wounds, wishes, fears, and inner images, and it guides many of our actions without us noticing. When a man falls in love, he does not always recognize it at once, especially if he was taught to hide his emotions, appear strong, or avoid vulnerability. In that case, the unconscious speaks first through gestures, silence, mixed signals, and actions that may seem random, but are actually signs of something much deeper. How does this hidden love reveal itself? Jung spoke of the anima, the feminine image within the male unconscious. It represents the emotional, intuitive, and caring side of him. When a man begins to fall in love, his anima awakens, and this inner energy reaches toward the woman he loves, even if he is not consciously aware of it. This creates a series of behaviors that become noticeable if you pay close attention. He does not need to say it with words. The body speaks. The soul reveals itself. When a man is in love without realizing it, he often does things that seem small but carry deep meaning. He breaks his routine, loses his usual balance, and may even feel uneasy. All for one reason: you have already entered his emotional unconscious. In Jungian psychology, people often project onto others the qualities they admire, long for, or wish to develop within themselves. A man in love may project onto a woman the traits he dreams of or feels are missing in himself. He watches you, listens carefully, remembers your words, and often cannot explain why he cares so much. It is not logical, it is not planned, it is something much deeper. He may even become frightened by these feelings. He may pull away, become confused, and behave in ways that seem contradictory. Yet if you learn to recognize these signs, you will notice that his soul has already moved closer to you, even while his conscious mind is still trying to resist. Many men were raised to be tough, avoid showing emotion, and never fall too deeply in love. These lessons create emotional walls that act like filters. Because of this, love rarely arrives as a clear confession. Instead, it moves quietly beneath the surface through actions he cannot fully control. That is what makes it so powerful. These actions often speak louder than promises. A late-night text, a glance that lingers a little too long, a memory he mentions without being asked, a sudden desire to help, protect, or even gently challenge you. All of these are part of the unconscious language of love that reveals what words often hide. Carl Jung believed that a person becomes whole when they accept every part of themselves, the thinking mind, the feeling heart, and their natural instincts. A man who is beginning to fall in love without realizing it is moving through this process. His unconscious already understands. His body is already responding. His mind simply needs more time to catch up. What you can do is not push or demand answers, but simply observe, read between the lines, listen beyond the words. That is where the truth of the soul often lives. When he pulls away but cannot let you go, when he asks for space but still finds reasons to contact you, you are witnessing this inner struggle. He may set boundaries and then break them because he fears losing you. This back and forth is not always random or intended to hurt you. Often it reflects the conflict between what he truly feels deep inside and what he allows himself to admit on the surface. His heart is already involved, even if his mind is still learning to accept it. This inner conflict can make him seem distant one day and warm the next. He may appear calm on the outside while experiencing a storm within. Sometimes he hides behind humor or keeps himself constantly busy so he does not have to face what is growing inside his heart. Even then, his attention continues to return to you. He notices small changes in your mood, remembers conversations from long ago, and finds simple excuses to stay connected. These are not carefully planned habits. They arise naturally from a place he cannot fully control. The unconscious is slowly bringing hidden feelings into the light through ordinary moments that carry extraordinary meaning. If you remain patient, you will see that this kind of love moves slowly, but with great strength. It is not loud, but it is steady. It may not come with dramatic promises, but it reveals itself through care, concern, and consistent presence. He may ask about your day, even when he is exhausted, worry when you become unusually quiet, or smile when your name appears on his phone. Even in silence, there is an attraction he cannot fully explain. As he becomes more aware of himself, these silent signs may eventually become spoken words. Until then, his actions continue telling the story. They quietly say that somewhere deep inside, he has already chosen you, even if he is still learning how to admit it and believe it is safe to love. When you notice this mixture of closeness and distance, try not to judge too quickly. Behind it may be a man who is facing emotions he was never taught to understand. He is learning to listen to a part of himself that remained silent for many years. That requires courage, even if it does not always look like courage from the outside. Your calm presence, honesty, and patience can make that journey easier. You do not need to solve his struggle for him. Simply being genuine creates a space where his heart can begin to feel safe. Within that space, love can slowly grow from something hidden into something shared, from silent actions into spoken truth, and from confusion into a connection both of you can finally recognize. As time passes, you may notice his walls beginning to soften. He may reveal a fear, share something deeply personal, or admit that you matter to him more than he ever expected. These moments, although small, are important steps towards self-awareness. They show that what began in the unconscious is gradually becoming conscious. Love never rushes this process. It waits, it learns, it grows at its own pace. One day, he may finally say with words what his actions have been expressing all along. Until that day, trust the care you see and the quiet signs you feel. Sometimes the heart speaks long before the lips do. When you understand this silent language, you begin to recognize love even in silence, even in distance, and even in moments that seem confusing. Deep down, those moments may be guiding both of you closer together. In this way, what once seemed hidden slowly becomes visible, and what once felt confusing begins to make sense. Real love often begins quietly before it is ever spoken aloud. This is the quiet beauty of love that grows from within and teaches two hearts to become brave enough to meet in truth. Love finds its way, even when words are slow to come. On one side, his unconscious, connected to his anima, pulls him toward you. It moves him, attracts him, and brings thoughts of you into his mind unexpectedly throughout the day. On the other side, his rational ego tries to remain in control, protecting him from pain and resisting what it sees as a threat to his balance and security. This inner conflict creates inconsistent behavior. One day, he appears completely open, gentle, warm, and emotionally present. The next day, he seems distant, cold, or difficult to reach. But if you observe carefully, you will notice that he rarely stays away for long. What if he is not playing games with you at all? Many women interpret this behavior as manipulation. Certainly, some men do play games, but others are simply confused, afraid, or emotionally unprepared. They genuinely do not know how to deal with the powerful feelings rising within them. Carl Jung said, "What is not made conscious will appear in your life as fate." In this situation, what he does not recognize as love reveals itself through mixed behaviors that quietly shape the relationship without him fully understanding why. That is why he leaves, but cannot truly let go. That is why he remains silent, only to contact you later. That is why he avoids commitment while feeling jealous when he sees you with someone else. Why is it so difficult for him to remain emotionally steady? Many men carry a deep fear of losing themselves in a relationship. It is not because they do not want to love. It is because they were never taught how to remain true to themselves while loving another person. That fear encourages them to create distance so they can regain a sense of independence. But when the love is genuine, the unconscious does not support that escape. It continues drawing him back. It keeps the emotional connection alive, even when he tries to shut it down. Jung explained that the soul naturally seeks wholeness, and love is one of the strongest paths toward that goal. When he pushes you away, it is often because he feels he is giving you more influence over his heart than he understands, and that makes him feel exposed and vulnerable. So, what can you do? First, do not take it as a personal attack. Very often, the struggle is not about you. It is about his relationship with his own emotions. Second, do not try to convince him or chase him. His rational side will only build stronger walls if it feels pushed. Third, observe the pattern. If every step back is followed by a return, if every period of silence ends with a message filled with hidden emotion, and if he clearly cannot completely walk away, then there may be something deeper than simple attraction. There may be an active, unconscious bond at work. This is not about excusing hurtful behavior. It is about understanding what may be happening and deciding whether you are willing to be with someone who is still learning how to love and how to face himself. In the next part, we explore the second sign. He protects you even when you do not ask. One of the purest and most natural ways hidden love reveals itself is through the instinct to protect. When a man is in love, even if he has not realized it yet, something inside him awakens and pushes him to care for your safety and comfort. This does not always appear through grand heroic actions. More often, it shows itself through small daily gestures. He checks whether you arrived home safely, offers you his jacket without being asked, watches your surroundings when you are together, or worries about you, even when you think there is no reason to worry. Often, he does not even know why he is doing these things. Carl Jung spoke about archetypes, shared patterns that exist within the collective unconscious. One of these is the guardian, or protector. This archetype is not simply about physical strength. It is about protecting what a person deeply values. When a man begins connecting with his anima, the feminine side of his psyche, this guardian also awakens. If you are the person who touches his emotional world, his natural response may become caring for you, shielding you, and anticipating your needs without you asking for anything. How does this unconscious protection appear? It is not always dramatic. Sometimes it appears through simple concerns such as, "I just wanted to make sure you got home safely," or "I don't like you walking alone there at night." It may sound unnecessary, but it is often his unconscious expressing itself through ordinary words. He may walk you to your door, even when it is only a short distance away. He may stand closer to you in crowded places, or become more alert whenever he senses that something is wrong. These actions are rarely planned. They arise naturally from a part of him that already knows how important you have become. Even when he tries to appear casual or distant, this protective side often finds its way through. He may claim he does not care, yet still appear whenever you need help. He may ask for space, yet continue worrying when you are sick or exhausted. Once again, this reflects the conflict between a mind trying to remain in control and a heart that has already made its choice. If you pay attention, you will notice that this protectiveness is consistent. It does not depend entirely on his mood. It appears in small moments, quiet gestures, and in the way he pays attention to you. For many men, acting with care feels safer than saying, "I love you." Looking after someone feels less risky than exposing the heart with words. So he protects instead of confessing. He shows instead of telling. In doing so, he reveals feelings he may not yet fully understand. His unconscious already knows that you matter. It already knows that you are someone he does not want to lose, even if his conscious mind is still unsure how to describe those emotions. If you notice this pattern repeatedly, do not dismiss it. It is one of the clearest expressions of hidden love. At the same time, remember that understanding someone's behavior does not mean accepting everything. You also deserve clarity, respect, and emotional safety. Knowing what motivates his actions can help you make wise decisions. You can be patient, but you should never lose yourself. Love grows best when both people gradually learn to meet each other with honesty rather than silence alone. His protectiveness is often a reflection of an emotional bond that he still cannot express with words. Sometimes this protection appears through quiet acts. He walks beside you even when he is tired, so you are not alone. He changes his plans for you without calling it a sacrifice. He becomes alert whenever someone makes you uncomfortable or hurts your feelings. He reacts strongly when he senses that you have been wounded. These actions reveal a deep emotional connection. Your safety and happiness matter to him more than he dares admit. Jungian psychology suggests that people often act from parts of themselves they do not yet fully understand. In love, this becomes especially clear. A person may feel a powerful urge to care for someone, protect them, or remain close to them without fully understanding why. When he becomes a source of emotional or even physical safety for you, without any official commitment or spoken declaration of love, it may be his unconscious leading the way. Perhaps the most meaningful part is that his protectiveness comes from genuine desire rather than obligation. Still, one distinction is essential. Protecting someone is not the same as controlling them. If his concern comes with excessive jealousy, constant demands, mistrust, or rules that limit your freedom, then it is no longer healthy, unconscious love. It becomes emotional control disguised as care. Real love does not imprison you. It supports you, shelters you, and encourages your growth. A man who truly loves you, even if he has never spoken those words, will act from that place. Not because he believes he should, but because somewhere deep within, his soul already recognizes you as someone he wants to keep safe and close. In Jung's work, the anima serves as the bridge between a man's emotional world and his rational mind. If you awaken that bridge within him, if his inner world begins linking you with that feminine energy, then he will naturally see you as someone worthy of respect, care, and protection. Even if he never says, "I love you," his feelings become woven into his actions, in silences filled with presence, in his desire for you to be well, even while he is struggling internally. His love lives in what he does, in the way he shows up, and in the quiet strength of his concern. In the next part, we explore the third sign. He remembers things about you that even you have forgotten. This is one of the strongest clues that, without realizing it, he already carries you deep within himself. One of the deepest and most overlooked signs that a man is in love, without realizing it, is his ability to remember details about you that seem small or unimportant. Little facts, sentences you once spoke, moments you barely remember yourself, yet they remained with him. Why does this happen? In Jung's psychology, the unconscious does not only store pain or hidden desires, it also stores emotional bonds, and those bonds often reveal themselves through memory. But these are not ordinary memories. They are memories connected to the heart. When a man remembers your grandmother's name, the way you take your coffee, or a song you mentioned only once, it is usually not because he has an unusually good memory. It is because everything connected to you passes through a deeper emotional filter, one that assigns greater value to what truly matters. He does not have to make an effort. He does not need to write anything down. You have already become rooted within his inner world, even if he has not consciously realized it. So, what kinds of details should you notice? He remembers the day you spoke about something painful. He brings up a sentence you said weeks earlier as though the conversation happened yesterday. He recognizes the perfume you wear, even if you never told him its name. He notices changes in the way you dress, speak, or look. He remembers people or situations you mentioned only once. None of this happens by accident. These are signs that he has been emotionally present, even during moments when he appeared distant or distracted. His unconscious has become tuned to you. The remarkable part is that he often cannot explain why he remembers these things. He simply does. It feels completely natural. Jung described emotions as anchors for the soul. When something deeply touches us, it leaves an imprint that time does not easily erase. If you have become that emotional anchor for him, his memory will continue returning to you, quietly demonstrating that long before his mind accepts it, his heart has already chosen. What touches us emotionally is engraved much more deeply than what merely passes through our thoughts. When you awaken something inside him, a wound, a hope, or an old memory, you leave an emotional imprint. From that moment onward, everything connected with you gains new meaning, even if he cannot explain why. That is why a man who is unknowingly in love begins noticing every small detail about you, as though some hidden part of him already knows that you belong in his life story. If you ever ask him how he remembered something and he simply replies, "I don't know. I just did," pay attention. His unconscious has already done the work. Long before he understands it consciously, he is already carrying you within his heart. What is most fascinating is that while his rational side struggles with fear, pride, or confusion, his unconscious continues building a story with you. One clear sign of this is when he remembers things about you even better than you remember them yourself. Carl Jung suggested that the soul follows a different timeline than the mind. The soul feels, connects, and remembers, while the mind searches for control, logic, and safety. So do not be confused if he seems distant at times, but still remembers exactly how you felt on a difficult day. Do not assume he does not care simply because he never says, "I miss you," yet shows up with the book you mentioned only once. Never underestimate the memory of the heart. The soul does not forget what truly touches it. In the next part, we look at the fourth sign. He gets nervous when you are around, but does not know why. Body language is often described as the soul's confession. There are things the body cannot hide, even when the mind has not yet understood its own feelings. If a man is in love, even if he has never admitted it, his body may reveal what his words cannot. In fact, it often says much more than he realizes. When you are near, something changes. He becomes uneasy, looks at you too often, or avoids eye contact completely. He touches his face, crosses and uncrosses his arms, laughs at things that are not especially funny, talks too quickly, or suddenly becomes quiet. His entire system seems unsettled even if he cannot explain why. Why does the body react this way? Because the body responds to the unconscious. Jung believed that hidden or unrecognized inner energy often expresses itself through physical behavior. In simple terms, what cannot be spoken is often revealed through gestures, movements, and tension. When a man has not consciously accepted that he has strong feelings for you, but his deeper self already knows, his body becomes caught between two opposite impulses: the desire to move closer and the urge to run away. That conflict creates nervousness, awkward moments, and emotional discomfort, not because of you, but because of what you awaken inside him. Many men in this situation do not understand why they suddenly feel different around one particular person. They cannot explain why they become tense when you come close, why they become serious one moment and playful the next. It is not something they plan. It is often the ego trying to defend itself against emotions it has not yet learned to handle. Remember, genuine love brings vulnerability. If he has spent years protecting himself from emotional pain, love naturally weakens those defenses. That is why your presence can feel like an emotional shock. His heart may beat faster even if he never speaks about it. He becomes more alert, more restless, loses the effortless control he usually has over his behavior, says awkward things, contradicts himself, or accidentally reveals sides of himself he never intended to show. All because something deeper within him is pulling him toward a truth his conscious mind is still resisting. You may notice things that he never notices himself. His voice changes when he speaks to you. he unconsciously adjusts his clothes or fixes his hair when he sees you. Sometimes he becomes unusually serious, while other times he becomes unusually energetic. He fills every silence with conversation, or suddenly hides inside the silence. He fidgets with his fingers, touches his neck, or looks down more often than usual. It is not fear of you. It is fear of what your presence awakens within him. Jung also spoke about the shadow, the part of ourselves that contains what has been hidden, rejected, or left undeveloped. For many men, the ability to love deeply remains hidden in that shadow, because they were taught that powerful emotions are dangerous, weak, or threatening to their sense of control. When a woman awakens that forgotten part, he often does not know how to respond, and his body quietly reveals what his mind is trying to hide. His soul has already awakened, even if he is still trying to remain asleep. That is why he becomes nervous, not because he is simply insecure, but because the feeling runs deeper than he understands. Not because he dislikes you, but because you already matter more than he is ready to admit. In the next part, we explore the final sign. He gets jealous, but refuses to admit it. This unconscious reaction often reveals what his ego continues to deny. Jealousy frequently reveals the truth before words ever do. It reflects the desire for emotional closeness. When a man is in love, even if he remains unaware of it or refuses to accept it, his body, gestures, and silence often reveal what his words never say. This is not about toxic, controlling, or aggressive jealousy. It is about the quiet, natural, almost childlike reaction that appears when another man gives you attention or when you give your attention to someone else. It is the kind of jealousy that is never spoken aloud, but can still be felt. Jung believed that the unconscious reveals what the conscious mind is too afraid to face. When a man feels jealous but refuses to admit it, either to you or to himself, it may suggest that some part of him has already formed a deep emotional attachment, even while his conscious mind remains in denial. This inner conflict often becomes visible. His mood suddenly changes. His expression becomes colder for no obvious reason. He makes sharp jokes about the situation, distances himself, then later returns and asks indirect questions in a casual tone. What is happening beneath the surface is far from shallow. You are touching a sensitive part of his emotional world. When a man refuses to admit that he is in love, he often builds mental explanations to protect himself. He tells himself, "I don't care, she's just a friend, she can do whatever she wants." But when another man makes you laugh or gives you attention, those carefully built walls begin to crack. What emerges is desire. He realizes he does not want to lose you, even if he cannot explain why. Jung described the persona as the mask people wear to maintain control in the outside world. The soul, however, wears no mask. It responds from a place of honesty. In that sense, brief, calm, and non-controlling jealousy may reflect a genuine emotional bond.